Hello, everybody. I'm Immigration Lawyer John Khosravi, joining you live from Los Angeles, California, from JQK Law Firm, taking your questions about U.S. immigration for educational purposes only on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So we usually come here every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and hear what you got to say so you get to know more about the immigration process. But what we're doing now is having some pop-ups this week, and we're joining again Sunday to afternoon all across the world. It's afternoon, U.S. time. And we're going to take questions as they're popping up about U.S. immigration law, marriage, green cards, some employment stuff, adjustment of status, consular processing, and a lot more. Just shoot out your questions and we get it started. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know, is the feed coming in well or not? The software we have has a delay where I can see myself like talking, and then a few seconds later I can see the visual updating. So we'll see how that works out. That's running your business has a million and one headaches, million and two good stuff, a million and one headaches though. I'm fixing every little thing that pops up. But we're going to take your question about U.S. immigration. Interested in learning about timelines. The people's favorite question to ask, and the question we don't really have answers to, but we'll try our best to explain why we don't have good answers to them, and a lot more. Quadruple A, good to see you again. Regular on the show, good to see you. And everyone else on Instagram, Sarah, thank you for joining us. Casper, Mona, Ahmed, Phoenix, Michelle, Samoa, everybody, feel free to shoot out your questions and if you're watching this on TikTok, last show yesterday or day before yesterday, we got 20,000 likes. I wasn't expecting that. Previous one we got 10,000, so 20,000 likes is pretty cool. But join us, share the feed, and subscribe. And the best place to ask questions is on our YouTube page. The system we have shows the YouTube questions more prominently. So if you go to Immigration Talk on YouTube and check that out, you could do it there. But hey, if you're interested in a marriage green card case or a fiance visa, we have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Definitely check that out. Goes through the entire marriage green card process so you have an idea what's going on before you consult with an attorney. Nixta says, hi, John. Hi to you as well. We also just published the Ultimate Naturalization Citizenship Guide. And so that's a special one right there, 50 plus pages. If you want to download that, go to jqqlaw.com/contact, jqqlaw.com/contact. For the marriage green card guide, the ultimate marriage green card guide, go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com and you could download it from there. Please like if you're watching this and share the feed so we get more people coming in to ask their questions. Me, One Love, Big Daddy, Dr. MD. Thank you so much. Nixta, you as well. Thanks again. Monas, can green card holders apply for green cards for their parents? Unfortunately, the quick answer is no. You have to be a U.S. citizen to be able to apply for your parents. It's called the immediate relative category. So within the immediate relative category are parents of U.S. citizens, spouses of U.S. citizens, and minor children unmarried of U.S. citizens. But if you're a green card holder, you only are able to apply for your children who are unmarried, whether they're minors or adults, and a spouse. And there's delays in that. Mona follows up. Since parents are from Iran, any chance to get visit before next 4 years? Very, very unlikely unless they're in athletics or something like that. They come in to compete at the Olympics or something. Or you become a citizen and you apply for them. Mona, how much more time? When did you get your green card? So we can calculate that. And how did you get your green card? What was the basis? But other than that, other than rare circumstances of a tourist visa being issued, it's very unlikely that they'll be able to come visit the United States under the current administration if they're Iranian citizens. Unless maybe they get a second citizenship from another country. But all there's nuances and exceptions, but overall, it's not going to be good. Badger asks, is the I-129 the right form, right for getting a spouse or here while awaiting a visa approval? No, the I-129 is for work visas. That's for someone wanting an H or an L or something like that. What you're probably thinking of is the I-129F for the K3, but that one usually doesn't work anyways. But check out my guide, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. But we have a lot of videos, Badger. If you go to YouTube, JQK Law K3, if you type that in, I have detailed videos about the question you're asking for. One that says September 2024. Oh, EB, but I was on O1A. Lord suggests EB2 versus EB1. I mean, if you get EB1, get it. It's because EB2 is a little backed up, but do what you can. But yeah, it's gonna be a while until your parents will come. Unless you're gonna get the green card, you go visit them. But they're very unlikely they'll come here under this current administration unless things change a lot. So kind of getting into what the K3 is. So, when you have a marriage green card case, you're married to a citizen, not a green card holder. When you're married to a citizen, you file Form I-130 to bring your spouse here. But while it's pending, you could submit what's called an I-129F K3. And what the goal is that if that's approved, the government will do a quick visa interview with this foreign spouse and have them come to the United States to finish the process here. It's a hybrid of a fiancé visa and a married green card case. But in practice, maybe there's 2 people a year who'd get that. So it's like we don't usually submit it. I've had clients beg me to submit it, so we did. And like 1 out of 5 or maybe 1 out of 10 times, it'll cause the I-130 to go faster. Instead of taking 12, 14 months, it'll take like 5 or 6 months. It happens sometimes, rarely. So that's the only reason I would use that. Nixa says, just to share my happiness, adjustment of status approved a few days ago for 2 minor kids of U.S. citizens. Congrats. Timeline 5 months with RFE without interview. Nice. So don't give up. Great point, Nixa. Appreciate that. And 2 minor kids of U.S. citizens. If they're living with the adjustment, then they automatically become citizens too. Should you look up into the Form N600 certificates of citizenship for the children? Very important to have that. Unfortunately, the filing fees are high. But based on what the current administration is doing, in the future may happen. I definitely recommend looking into the certificate of citizenship. But thank you for sharing. Congrats. Quadruple A asks, does the $100,000 H-1B visa fee apply to F1 students in the U.S.? No, if they're doing change of status, it actually does not apply. So that's great news right there. If you're watching this, wherever you watch this, please like and share the feed. Share and so other people can learn about it, come ask questions. But like too, I think that gets the attention of the people on TikTok. It keeps it going. Anaya says, are standalone I-130s with I-485 still being processed? Yes, all the time. Nixa says, thank you for all your advices, John. You're welcome, Nixa. Congrats. And if you have time, leave a 5-star review or 4 or 5 stars. How many stars Google allows you to put. Just put JQK Law into Google, and on the right side, it'll come up. You don't have to write anything, just stars. It helps. But I appreciate that. And again, look into the certificate of citizenship. But thanks for coming on the show. Kay Campo says, please clear up if I'm here. I'm on the U.S. on a J1. I'm moving to H-1B. Do you have to pay the $100,000 fee? It seems like if doing change of status in the United States properly, they're not going to charge you the fee. But I haven't been reading the updates yet. I just came up a couple of days ago. I'm going to have to read it in more detail. But it looks like it's not going to apply if you're doing change of status. But it is successful and not denied. But just the lawyer who's going to do it for you is the employer's lawyer. So they'll be able to give you all the information you need. Doesn't matter what you know or don't know. They'll take care of it. Kay Campos, thank you for the gifter badge. Please like everyone who's watching. Appreciate that. TXKK says, I recently changed USS field office when they told me that my I-45 case was in queue for an interview in Orlando and now has been routed to Los Angeles. Will there be a big delay in my case? It's hard to say. Sometimes no, sometimes yes. It's really a bureaucratic thing of what they do with your file. So there's no fixed way of that, how that works out. You're welcome, Kate Campos. July says, hey, sir, I have a CIGIS. I want to use 245H, deemed parole for marriage case, OS, scene 245H, part 1. I have to see what's going on with your case. That's too case specific. I have to talk with you in private. Keith says, if a 90-day deadline for the consular DNA letter expires, can I request another one later once U.S. relative is ready for DNA testing? I don't typically handle DNA testing, so I'm not well versed in that situation. But if it says a deadline, it's a deadline. You got to ask the embassy if they'll extend it. But I don't know the details of DNA testing. I've only had to do it once, and they'll do it really fast. So I don't remember getting too much into that. Someone says, petitioner switched from 2-month to 12-month on USAID's website. Does that mean it's delayed? No, the website is not reliable. So any timelines even on the website saying how long it's going to take is not something that's reliable that I would take seriously. But I don't know how long you've been waiting and what kind of case you have, so it might be something different going on in your case. I don't know. Kay Campbell, thank you for the gifter badge. July said, hey, sir, I answer your question, July. Dr. Mike says, my mom's an American citizen. What's the wait time to connect me? I don't know. I don't know about you, what country you're from, if you're married or single, how old you are, what's going on with your mom, where she's living. So we got to have a consultation to get more details about that. Sarah asks, how long does the I-130 take to be approved? What kind of I-130, Sarah? There's many different types for parents, siblings, children, adult children, minor children. Are you a green card holder? Are you a U.S. citizen? All these have factors in how long it's going to take. Oops, I accidentally sent an invitation. I didn't mean to. TX says, I tried to expedite my EAD work permit because the first one got denied. I tried the second time. There's no option online to select only to expedite I-45. How can I try to expedite the EAD? Well, it's surprising you got your EAD denied. I don't really see that happening, so I guess what's going on. But if you want to expedite, call them and USCIS and tell them the reason for your expedite. User 37 says, sir, can I go to my home country for 4 months with expired green card and notice receipt with clean record? So I'm guessing you have an extension pending. Can he go to your home country? I need more details to advise whether you could do something or not. I don't want to say yes and you go and say, "Oh, this lawyer didn't know what he was talking about. I got stuck outside." So generally a person with the expired green card with the extension can travel, but whether you could do in your unique situations, I don't know because I don't know you. But that's the whole point of the extension notice is to give you the ability to travel, have work authorization, and do the things you need to do, just as having like a proper green card. But you might have a bad case and you leave, might not be able to come back in, or they put you in detention. You might have some arrest history or convictions or stuff like that that come in the system too. So until we really get into your case, I can't talk. I can't say for sure what you can do. Sarah asks, I-130, U.S. citizen husband, Iranian wife, probably 12 to 14 months for that I-130 before it be approved. That's the average right now. Feel free to shoot out your questions. Yep says, are you feeling okay? Yeah, sure. I'm just taking some notes, do some shorts and TikToks for people who are asking these questions that are repeatedly asked. So it'd be good to do it. I look tired. Yeah, I've had a long day, but I want to make sure to come in live and help everybody. And it looks different. The camera on my TikTok or watching it makes it look more tired than on YouTube and Instagram. So each camera has a different color and angle that makes it look different. But thanks for asking. All right, everybody, feel free to shoot out your questions and press like and share this feed again to get more questions. The more questions they are, the more excited I get, more livelier, and so look less tired, if you will. I just gotta come home from a long walk with my kids, and exercise a lot today. Got to go out again later, but I want to get this live in because I enjoy having these conversations. All right. So what's going on in the news when it comes to immigration? As you all know, it's always something going on. I have a different podcast actually. It's called the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Podcast. For every Monday, I go over like a top 10 things from the last week. It's more for immigration practitioners. There's a lot going on. Like the government wants to restrict visas for people in Central America who cooperate with China. This is, the administration's wild ideas. The EB-5 program is under scrutiny, but also they lowered the fee. The EB-5 program is if you invest money into the United States and you want to get a green card that way. It's what the gold, visa is supposed to be, but they're changing that up. The immigration court just brought on a lot of judges, a lot of new judges, especially from the military, to be able to adjudicate cases in immigration court for deportation. That's going to be weird because immigration is very complicated. So bringing people that haven't done immigration to become immigration judges is a very tricky situation. For those who are getting tourist visas to come to compete in the United States, in some ways they made it easier for it to come for certain sports, not others, by updating the B1 business visa traveler, tourist traveler requirements. One big one is they're requiring that any person coming into the United States or leaving that's not a citizen to have their biometrics taken from them. So this is a new thing they're going to be starting. Even if you're Canadian, even if you're a green card holder, when you're leaving, they're going to have systems to take your picture. And so that's a big thing that's popping up. And, just be careful. Just because you have certain cases approved in the United States, if you're out of status, ICE does reserve the right to pick you up and detain you and potentially send to immigration court. So that stuff does happen. Recently, we had a colleague that told us they had a case where a person got an I-618 waiver approved. And they're waiting for their embassy appointment at the U.S. Embassy abroad. And while they're waiting, ICE came and picked them up, put them in detention in immigration court. They got to get that case closed before they get able to do consular processing. So it's a very unfortunate situation. They did that, wasting resources from the government and for people to do something like that. It's going to cost them a lot of money, a lot of time, both the government and the individual. So it's a messy situation they're putting people through. And so you got to be very careful and cautious. But if you are, you never know what's going to happen because the immigration situation is so peculiar and up in the air right now. But thanks everyone for joining us. Scarlett, Shahriar, Plant Life. Thank you, Sarah, Salman. Feel free to shoot out your questions. Sana says, hi, how can I contact with you? Very easy. Go to our website, jqqlaw.com, and click on the contact button or jqqlaw.com/contact and fill in the option there for just your information there. So I know who you are and what kind of case you have. And that way I can respond with more focused answers of what we're about and what we could do, how a consultation works. And sometimes you have a case that we just don't do. It's like we don't handle that particular case type. And that's where we tell you so you know are aware of it. But jqqlaw.com/contact. Shahriar asks, I just had a baby boy in the U.S. Congratulations. My IR1 interview is after 20 days. What? I need to update my case or nothing for now? By IR1 interview, does that mean you're doing adjustment of status in the United States? You don't need to update it. Just let them know you have a child at the interview. But I got no more information. But overall, you just update them, but it's not in particular. Sauna asks, how much is the consultation fee? It depends on what issue you have and how much time is needed. That's why I recommend going to the website and submitting that contact form request. I can see what's going on, how much time you need, and what kind of case is it, and we could take it from there. Overlord asks, my wife's from Colombia, got her green card in 4 months from the day we submitted. I'm guessing you did adjustment of status, and that's like going time right now. If you're doing I-130 adjustment status combo, in most places we're getting them done 3 to 6 months is pretty average right now, but it could be faster, slower. It's all over the place with these things. Overlord says, yeah. So yeah, for adjustment of status, it's pretty typical to get done 3 or 4 months right now. That's what's happening. We have cases in Los Angeles and in Santa Clara, San Francisco, having these kind of timelines happen. I have one case that's going longer, but I think there's national security issues involved in it. But typically, since the Trump administration came, things have gotten much faster. That's one of the positive things with Trump administration you wouldn't have thought, but a lot of cases that would be lingering for green cards, adjustment of status, be approved like much, much faster, sometimes in like a few months where they were taking a year. So that's been an incredible aspect. It's been very helpful and people are really happy about. A reminder, if you're interested in a marriage green card case, download our guide, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com to download the guide. And if you want to go through the citizenship process, we have an ultimate guide for that too, the Ultimate Naturalization and Citizenship Guide at jqqlaw.com/citizenship, jqqlaw.com/citizenship. Zanet asks, any hopes for Dreamers DACA on applying for citizenship or residency without getting married? Not anything particular. Depending on how much unlawful presence days you've had, potentially you can go and do consular processing for certain work-based green cards or family-based. Potentially, you could get leave and get a waiver to come back in on H-1. These are tough. So essentially, I wouldn't do anything. Potentially, again, if you haven't entered lawfully, doing advanced parole might be a way to go, but we got to see what's going on, what the best benefit is there. But typically, DACA people, marriage is the way to solve it. Marriage U.S. citizen, not a green card holder, too. That's usually the way. Thank you for the gifter badge, Zanetta. Please like whoever watching this. Let's see how many likes you can get. We've been on for a while. Some days we get more likes than others. Thursday, we got 20,000 likes. It's crazy. Potul asks, my husband is in a detention center. Sorry to hear that. We want to file a habeas corpus petition, 2 months of, well, the rest of it cuts out. And we don't do habeas cases, but definitely find a lawyer who can file that. It's a lot of work, but get it in. So hopefully get out and live with you guys while the case is pending. Zanetta, thanks again for the gifter badge. Carlina, thanks for liking the live. Please like and subscribe so you can catch more of these pop-ups when they come. You can get your questions answered. I'll be on it for a few more minutes before we go on to the next thing. But again, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. If you want to schedule a private consultation, please go to jqqlaw.com/contact and we'll get you there. We'll be on for another 2 or 3 minutes. If you want to get on the show and ask a question, please let me know. Let's see. Julie asks, EWI, got SIGs, now married to U.S. citizen. You want to use deemed patrol for SIGs for adjustment with marriage 245H. I'm not familiar with deemed parole for 245H, so I guess something I have to look into. I've had that scenario before. I don't handle SIGs cases too, so it's not my specialty. Poto says, yes, my husband's BLA was painting. I'm not sure what you mean. In our marriage case is I-618 pending. Oh, man. So I-618s are taking a while. So you need to get that approved. Sorry, his intention. That's a similar case that a colleague might just had to deal with. Hopefully the 618 gets approved and he can go and finish things off. Well, thank you for the gifter badge. All right. Probably got a minute left. Please shout out your questions and we could jump in and answer some general immigration related questions. If not, I'll just call it a day today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Just look for JQK Law or U.S. Immigration Talk, and you'll find us. You'll be back on Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I guess 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sana says, my son denied that visit 2 months before he can apply again or not. I think you're saying he was denied a tourist visa. Could he apply? Depends on what the denial is for. Was it basically 214B denial? Yeah, but it's probably going to be denied again. Joy says, SIG is deemed paroled for adjustment, but USS interpret SIG basis. So I have a case like that. Actually, I just remembered, and I was talking with lawyers because I don't deal with SIGs. We had to do a FOIA request to see if he was paroled in like the way you're saying on SIGs, and he was in that case. But we had to do a bunch of FOIA requests. But his case is already in court, so and administrative closed. So I didn't want to rock the boat, so we just left it as is. But that's the thing. So it's from what I gathered is they don't consistently interpret it as parole, and it depends on what your paperwork looks like. So you need to get a copy of the paperwork that says it was parole. So it might work, but you need the paperwork, and my client didn't have it, so we had to do a FOIA request, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Is there any way to speed up an I-90? No, not really. Because you get the receipt notice that's an extension, so the government says, what do you need to speed up for? You got the extension notice. What's the matter? What's the big deal? Sharia says, sir, sorry, my interview is an Islamabad embassy IR1. In that case, do I need to update as well? I just had a kid 30 days before interview. I'm a spouse of a citizen. I mean, you could upload the birth certificate so it's in the system, and at the interview, update them, but that's about it. It doesn't really matter much for the case. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. God bless, be safe, and I'll see you all on Tuesday. Please join us. We'll be here at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Bye-bye.